Spider-Man soared through the air. He loved swinging through New York City. Buildings zipped by. People waved from below. His Spidey sense tingled. Something was up. He landed on a rooftop to check his phone. Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Another robbery? The news report blared from his phone. The Golden Falcon statue was gone. The thief left a strange calling card. It was a riddle. This was definitely a job for Spider-Man. Peter Parker walked into the school cafeteria. The bustling sounds of students chatting and the clatter of trays filled the air. It was just another typical day at Midtown High, or so it seemed. He spotted his best friends, MJ and Ned, sitting at their usual table near the window. They waved him over with the sense of urgency that Peter couldn't ignore. As Peter approached, he noticed the serious expressions on their faces. They were deeply engrossed in a conversation about something that seemed to be troubling them. "Ned, the Golden Falcon, that's crazy! Who steals a statue anyway?" His voice was a mix of disbelief and excitement. Peter, MJ, and Ned were seated at a lunch table, engrossed in a discussion about the stolen statue. The Golden Falcon was a prized artifact, and its theft had the entire school buzzing. MJ, "It sounds like the Riddler is back. He loves those." She handed Peter a piece of paper with a riddle on it. Peter examined the riddle, his brow furrowing in concentration. The riddle mentioned shadows and birds. Peter read it aloud, trying to make sense of the cryptic message. "In the shadows where the birds sing lies the key to everything." It did sound like the Riddler, but something felt off. Peter couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this than met the eye. Could it be a copycat? Peter wondered aloud. The thought of someone mimicking the Riddler's style was both intriguing and unsettling. They needed to solve this riddle and find the Golden Falcon before it was too late. Peter couldn't focus in class. The stolen statue and the riddle kept popping into his head. Was it the Riddler or someone new? He had to find out. The bell rang, signaling the end of class. Peter ducked into an empty classroom. He quickly changed into his Spider-Man suit. He had to get to the bottom of this. As Spider-Man swung through the city, he thought about the riddle. He decided to check the museum's security footage. Maybe he could spot something the police missed. The security footage was blurry, almost as if someone had tampered with it. The grainy images flickered on the screen, making it difficult to discern any clear details. But Spider-Man's keen eyes were trained for such challenges. Amidst the static and shadows, Spider-Man could make out a figure moving stealthily. The silhouette was faint, but there was something unmistakably suspicious about it. He knew he had to dig deeper. The figure was disguised as a security guard, blending in seamlessly with the surroundings, but something seemed off. Spider-Man zoomed in, scrutinizing every detail. The uniform was perfect, almost too perfect. And then the guard made a move that confirmed Spider-Man's suspicions. With a swift motion, the guard removed his mask, revealing the true identity beneath. It was Chameleon, the master of disguise. Chameleon was notorious for his ability to assume any identity. He could look like anyone, anywhere, at any time. This made him one of Spider-Man's most elusive and dangerous foes. With a simple change of clothes or a new mask, Chameleon could morph into a completely different person. His transformations were seamless, making it nearly impossible to track him down. Spider-Man knew he had to act quickly. Time was of the essence. He couldn't let Chameleon slip through his fingers again. He studied the footage, looking for any clues that might lead him to the villain's next move. Chameleon had his eyes on a valuable statue, a priceless artifact that he wouldn't hesitate to sell to the highest bidder. The stakes were high, and Spider-Man couldn't afford to lose this battle. Spider-Man, Peter Parker. "Time to put a stop to your little costume party, Chameleon," he muttered to himself, determination etched on his face. He knew where he needed to go. With a swift leap, Spider-Man swung off towards the docks. The cityscape blurred past him as he moved with purpose, his mind focused on the task at hand. The docks were dark and foreboding, shrouded in shadows. Spider-Man had a feeling that this was where he'd find his reptilian foe. He moved silently, blending into the darkness, ready to confront Chameleon and put an end to his schemes once and for all. The docks were dark and foggy. Crates were stacked everywhere, perfect for hiding. The air was thick with mist, making it difficult to see more than a few feet ahead. The sound of water lapping against the wooden piers added to the eerie atmosphere. It was the kind of night where shadows seemed to move on their own, and every creak of the dock could be something or someone lurking in the darkness. Spider-Man's senses were on high alert. He heard a noise. His spider sense tingled, alerting him to potential danger. He crouched low, his eyes scanning the area for any signs of movement. The docks were a perfect place for an ambush, and he knew he had to stay vigilant. Every sound, every shadow could be a clue. He couldn't afford to miss anything. He shot a web and pulled himself onto a stack of crates. From this vantage point, he could see more of the docks, but the fog still obscured much of his view. He needed to get higher, to get a better look at what was going on. He shot another web, pulling himself up to a higher stack of crates, his eyes constantly scanning for any signs of trouble.
Looking for me, Spider-Man? The voice was calm, almost mocking. It came from somewhere in the fog, but Spider-Man couldn't pinpoint the exact location. He tensed, ready for anything.
A voice chuckled. A dock worker stood there. He looked ordinary enough, but something about him seemed off. Spider-Man's instincts told him this was no ordinary dock worker, but Spider-Man knew it was Chameleon in disguise. The way he stood, the slight smirk on his face, it all gave him away. Spider-Man had encountered Chameleon enough times to recognize his tricks.
Your disguise skills need work, Chameleon, Spider-Man quipped. He tried to keep his tone light, but he was ready for a fight. He knew Chameleon wouldn't go down without a struggle.
Chameleon grinned. It was a grin that promised trouble. He enjoyed the game, the challenge of outsmarting Spider-Man. He pulled off the dock worker mask. Underneath his face was a blank canvas, ready to become anyone, anything. In a flash, he transformed into a sailor, then a fisherman, then a businessman. Each transformation was seamless, almost magical. It was no wonder he was one of Spider-Man's most elusive foes. Spider-Man had to keep his eyes peeled. Chameleon was good, very good. But Spider-Man was determined. He wouldn't let Chameleon slip away this time. He watched every move, every slight change in posture, ready to act at a moment's notice. The night was far from over, and the real battle was just beginning. Suddenly, the air filled with a blinding light. Then, a giant swirling vortex appeared on the water. From its depths, a figure emerged. Mysterio! He was known for his illusions.
Mysterio.
Spider-Man exclaimed, momentarily distracted. This just got more complicated.
You're wrong, Spider-Man.
Chameleon called out, his voice echoing from seemingly everywhere.
It's not Mysterio.
Chameleon was right. The Mysterio figure flickered and disappeared. It was just another illusion. Mysterio's illusions were everywhere. Fish swam through the air. The ground opened up beneath Spider-Man's feet. He had to concentrate. He had to focus on what was real. Chameleon used the distraction to his advantage. He grabbed the Golden Falcon statue and made a run for it.
Nice try, Chameleon.
Spider-Man shouted. He used his webs to create a giant net. He trapped Chameleon and the statue. The illusions faded. The police arrived to take Chameleon away. The Golden Falcon was safe. Spider-Man had done it again. He loved his job, even if it was dangerous.
Well, that was interesting.
A voice said from behind him. Spider-Man turned. It was MJ. She had seen the whole thing.
You could say that again.
Spider-Man chuckled. He knew he'd never have a normal life, but that was okay. He was Spider-Man. And with great power came great responsibility. Later that night, a mysterious figure watched footage of Spider-Man's fight. He chuckled, a low, dangerous sound.
So the spider thinks he is a hunter now? Let us see how he fares against a real predator.
The figure turned, revealing a muscular build and a fur-lined collar. It was Kraven the Hunter, and he had his sights set on Spider-Man.